I miss my dad. We have family gatherings. We've been at the restaurants a few times, and I walk in, and automatically some part of me sort of recognizes the shape of his head. Or I'm in the next room. And I hear his voice. It's the automatic way that I've come to just hold him as being there. I wish I could have taken one last walk with him, and I don't even really know what I would have said. I probably would have just looked at him with gratitude and appreciation, everything that you've been hearing about. I hold the lucky position of being his firstborn, the first experiment. I'm proud of my scars. I think I would have loved to have taken one last walk with him to say goodbye. Because we couldn't do that in the hospital. Because somehow it felt like maybe it would have canceled the hope. But I know that he knew we loved him, and he was overflowing and expressing his love for us. In fact, he bragged about us a little too often. Especially for me in particular, he would brag about me to Melanie's boyfriends. That was a little awkward. None of them stuck around. And then, just recently, Teo, my son there, is in kindergarten, and he would pick Teo up from school, and I discovered the other day that he had been bragging about me to the other kindergarten parents. So, anyway, now I guess don't have to worry about that. And one thing I just wanted to mention also was that on April 10th, he was in the hospital. Tessa, my daughter, turned 3. And he was so weak, the oxygen couldn't reach his blood. But he had my mother come over, and he dictated to her exactly what he wanted her to print on a certificate that was to be her birthday present. It said, "Tessa is 3, adventure with Grandpa." Even lying there as weak as he was still thinking about the future. He was still thinking about the ones that he adored the most, his family, his grandchildren. He had so many pictures of them all over the house. I think it's covered all the wallpaper, but he would talk about them to anyone, to everyone. And 2 Sundays ago, I was in the Berkeley YMCA, down in the locker room. There are all these old guys sitting in their white towels. I was jealous. I was thinking that my dad should be there. He should be chatting with his friends, talking about how to decimate the younger kids at racquetball. His death, it was beautiful. In a way, it was perfect. It was painful for us. And you've heard some of it from Melanie. And he was in the hospital at a point when the inflammation of his lungs already had reduced his statistical chances to very low. You know what we think about statistics. Because miracles happen, and we were hoping that maybe that would be the one. But he held on, and we were with him, singing to him, holding him. We posted a vigil with him. And I think maybe the reason that he stayed on for a week, unconscious, sedated, to reduce his oxygen use, was because we were holding on to him. And as Fudong said, he had to make the choice, and we had to support him in that choice. And it was the moment when Dawn came over and helped us find the words. And it was, It's okay if you go. Minutes later, his heart stopped. But we were with them. We were around him. It was incredible. It was like I didn't know I had a superpower or something. And suddenly, being called forth with family, in a way, what he and my mother had created us, what they had nurtured in us in family, we came together. We sang to him as he departed his physical body. It was beautiful, and I miss him. After his 73rd birthday in January, he wrote something. He wanted to share something about being 73 with his family. He wrote, "I learned something from Carl for the first time. He once asked Pop what he would do different in life if he had a chance to do it again. Pop," his dad, "wished he had ambition. That was significant. If you think of ambition as a long-term goal, then I didn't have it either. My life has been lots of little endeavors, which is to say, the next exciting project, the next adventure, the next experiment. I don't ever remember thinking ahead long-term about some major goal in life." And he talks about Gail Sheehy's book, Passages, where she found seniors in their 70s and beyond who fell into two basic groups: those who were very satisfied with their life and those who were crotchety and cranky. And remarkably, which group you were in had nothing to do with wealth or fame. My dad says, "Now I have time to reflect, and I see I'm in the happy group of seniors. In fact, what my main thoughts are these days is nothing I ever would have guessed. I count my blessings every day, feeling lucky, grateful and happy about zillions of tiny things. If some old guy had told me what he was thankful for back when I was busy with life in my 30s and 40s, I would have thought he was a little nutty." As a father now, I am so aware of the impact that everything I do has on my children. Some little thing, how I drink milk from a bowl of cereal. Soy milk, actually. How I process conflict, how I talk to people that I don't know. I see it reflected back in my children. And with that, I've become really aware of how much my father is woven into me. Normally, when a child differentiates from its parents, you have to sift through, find the good stuff you want to keep and the stuff you want to toss. It's been really hard to find stuff to toss. And I want to end just with a writing that I did the day after he died. She raises her 3-year-old head, stirring the warmth from beneath tangled mahogany strands, fine like her mother's. A rasped yawn, and then her cheek replaces itself on my shoulder. Lying there in the thick darkness, I close my eyes again. "Yesterday, Dad, when I slid my palm under the heaviness of your brown shoulder, the firmness of its muscle swelling the skin like a summer nectarine, I felt the heat leaving you. As it pooled in my hand, having nowhere else to go, my 40 years dropped away, and I became a small boy once again. Suddenly, I longed to be held by you, to feel again the strong comfort of a father to his son, the boy quiet, brooding, but knowing where to place his trust. Standing there, all I could feel was what I had forgotten to miss, the proud love within your embrace, fierce devotion to your children. You carried us through the years, Dad, never letting us see your worry about money, its loss, the gambles you took. Over time, your shoulders hunched, head dropping forward, like one who is unable or unwilling to put his burden down. Lying still and heavy on the hospital bed, the tissue slowly grew cold, your fingers hardening against my small boy's hand in yours. Finally, we had taken all your warmth, stored it directly in our cells, and walked out, the curtain falling behind us. They carried your body away through specially marked corridors in the company of a security guard. Darkness. Tessa murmurs, turns towards me, blowing tiny puffs of air across my cheek. I soften the bones of my shoulder under her head, relax the tissue. Let me dream that dream again, the one where you are still with me, Dad. where we are walking in each other's footsteps, where time moves so slowly, and the sun burns behind you, shoving aside the gray curtain, leaving you free and fearless. Thank you.